Hey, this is Roger Moore here from Affinity Xtra. We are here to do an event for the big help out, an event that's here to encourage volunteering for community organizations. And our event is called Be Extra. You know Affinity Xtra. We be extra for our community. Our community in times of hardship needs our help. And there's a lot of people that I know you want to help your community effectively. You may only have a few hours a week or a few hours a month, and you want to know how to sow into community organizations that's effective. And we're here to discuss and talk about community organizations around the UK. And we're here to really show how you can invest into them and into other community organizations. We are also celebrating community organization, celebrating and encouraging volunteers primarily. This is the big help out event. This today is about being extra because we believe you have to be extra to support your community, and that's one of the things that we are lacking within our community. A number of people are passionate about. After I spoke to the organizers of this event, and one of the things that I've really spoke to different organizations, and the biggest thing is a case of the lack of people who not only volunteers, but you gotta have the heart as well. You can't just turn up just to tick a box, you know. We too often we turn up to these spaces and we want to tick up boxes for okay, yeah, pastor said I have to do something for the community, so I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I do this. We got to be doing this because we get why we're doing this. We get this because we want to sow into the community. We've got to have the heart. So this is about us showing people's hearts and people's blessings. So the next person who I'm going to be speaking to is somebody you wouldn't know me, see me speak to. But let me just give an introduction to them. But they've been within creativity, and also I would definitely say in terms of youth work for the best part of probably going. I don't want to expose the man's age, man, but from since I know, so you're talking about a good 3 decades easy, you know what I'm saying? So since I was a pup, I know you could argue and say that, you know what, even for myself, you could argue and say I was a youth when I first bumped into Rico. So you could almost say that I was one of his early volunteers, you know. So it's Rico's fault why I'm here now on the voicing up the mic, you know what I'm saying? I get a drum and bass track and let's do some of Rico. Actually, you know what? It's so crazy. He did actually inspire me definitely musically, especially when it came to music that was relevant to the community, because one thing I do know when it comes to church, we're great for choir music, but at the time there was a music style called drum and bass, which and very different styles, dancehall and whatsoever, that was big within the community, which wasn't being played in church, and a lot of my friends and colleagues were loving that, and it was about being effective and efficient and bringing out truth to them and positivity, which Rico was there. But I'm probably explaining Rico to everybody, but he can explain himself anyway. But I'm gonna bring Rico, come on, man, come on. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. He's laughing, you know, still, yeah, because he almost as red as me, so he might just turn red as well. He might get red cheeks. Yeah?
Coming at the red hills.
Yeah. Okay. When I come like so, you know what I mean. So make sure we in here, nice man. But we okay, community. Now we on the beat. Just want to. Really, I spoke to other guests about the organizations a bit, okay. And obviously now I've got you in the studios, yeah. But let's start with community. You know what I'm saying? As somebody who's grown up in not far from here, Aston area and whatsoever, yeah. When you say community, what really hits your word with community? Wherever you've been, when I say the word community, yeah, is community. What you said? That's my community. When someone says that's my community, what does that mean to me? What does it mean to you?
Okay, well, when we grew up, you know what I mean, as like a young man out of the road, you know what I mean, when we was like, you know, breaking out, we call it. You understand me? You know, it was like we was getting to know our community. That's what it really meant. So there was a community that was built within a community. That's the community I know. Okay. So like Answorth, Aston, that was what we call a West Indian and Irish very strong community.
Yeah, true.
And then obviously the Asians came.
Yeah.
and then they became a part of that community. But with the Asian community, they still kept to themselves in the early, when we're talking about like 60s, 70s.
You're talking history, man. Yeah.
They didn't really mingle. They didn't really mingle. They were very, like, you wouldn't see them in a chip shop, for instance. I'm being honest. You wouldn't see them at chip shop and things like that.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
But you'd see the Irish, you'd see the West Indians, them.
Okay.
So when we came to, like I said, like party time now, we would go out and party. The Irish and the West Indians would be out and, they'd dance, enjoy themselves. And that's how the community was kind of formed. So when I call community was formed within, as I said, the English culture, but then we had the Windrush period
cool.
of people coming
That's cool.
So they built a community within a community, because what had happened is when we first came here, our parents and that, they wasn't very welcomed, you see. So because of that, they had to sort of form a community for themselves, because the community that they came into wasn't really welcoming, put it that way.
That's foundation. Yeah, that's foundation.
So really, the church community, that's what I call a community, because the church formed its own community, because although they were like Church of England in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, Anglican, that was another,
big church,
remember, it was under the colonial
system,
right? So that were the kind of churches that they went to. So when they came here, they expected to continue their religious beliefs, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. They wasn't really welcomed even in the churches. So this is where now the new community was built, you see. So that's what we call community.
So ultimately, you're building up almost, there's the community in terms of a physical sense. There's a community when it comes to almost like a social sense, because you're talking about like Irish and blacks, because they had a kindred spirit, the hard working, both being struggling to settle in this country, and then basically socialize together, and actually go to the pub together, as we know. That's why we really good at making Guinness punch and stuff like that. So you know what I'm saying, that's how we bumped into Guinness punch there.
Mackerson. There used to be a drink called Mackerson.
Mackerson?
Similar to the Guinness.
Yeah.
They used to call it Mackerson. Yeah.
Okay.
You used to get it delivered your daughter,
Okay.
Yes, man.
Okay. When I get in trouble when I Google Mackerson, I know when let's spell it properly. But so you got that community now. So this is true, because there's gonna be people out there, when we say community, that's the community that they're gonna attach to. They're gonna go, okay, I may have grown up in a different area, but my community is that same community that my grandma, my grandpa's been part of, So you do raise a thing there. Now, we've seen our communities suffer over the past years. Do you feel that have we sold enough into our community as a community? So we've got this event now. This is not about culture or different people. This is just a general encouragement to people to volunteer into their communities. So do you think there's been a lack of community volunteers over your years? Because you've been going back from the 90s to now. Have you said, when you reached out for people to come out support, have they not supported?
I think support comes from understanding.
Go on.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think with any organization or any movement, you have to have a clear understanding for the people to understand, first of all, what is it you want me to support? You get me? So when you get past that one, the next thing now is then, will they support?
Okay.
And be honest with you, you will get a few. I think in everything we've all done, you always get a few people that will support. But the few is not enough if your vision's a big vision. You know what I mean? Because you're talking about change then. If you're talking about changing the narratives from where it is to where it needs to be, you're going to need a lot more support than just a small support. You need a big support. And I think sometimes most organizations suffer because that is where they need the support now. Because they've got past the baby stage, so they're moving into the big league now, where they've got much more, wider scope of people interested in what they're doing. They can see the good work they're doing. So they need now more financial support, more physical support. And sometimes that's where it starts to crumble.
And that's a valid point still. I think a lot of us within our communities, we have to kind of think bigger and have to realize that we're seeing so many companies almost get to a certain threshold. You know what I'm saying? And then ultimately, disappear.
Most definitely.
And I think that if there's a pattern within our community is that we build up organizations that do great work, and then somebody else starts the work, and then that one peters out, and then somebody else starts again, and we see this evolution of a cycle.
Yes.
And I definitely want to encourage anyone who's listening here to make them understand. And I wanted this conversation with Rico because of working with the community. You've seen the rise and the fall of many great organizations,
yes,
you know what I'm saying,
man.
That's doing a great
Yes.
work, and people not coming together, not volunteering in a way which will bless the community. And I think initiatives like this is great, but I think sometimes we isolate ourselves even from UK wide.
Yes.
Think what's going on here, and not realize that we are in the UK.
Come on.
We're not going nowhere, Rico.
No.
You know,
This is where we are, bro.
I think we want to say we're going somewhere, but I don't think we're going anywhere.
No, 100%. We're not. I think again, when our parents came here, the mindset they had was that they weren't stopping. So they never really put things in place for somebody that was looking to stop.
Cool.
The Asian community came with the intention that they were staying. So their mindset from day one was a different mindset. They started putting things in place for their long-term future here in the UK.
Okay, cool.
What happened is by the time our parents had children, the whole plan of going back home obviously changed.
So of course.
Now so we started, I would say, development in terms of making a strong foundation here later than the Asian community who still came after us. Because we never came with the intention to stay.
That's ultimately why we're always saying to ourselves that we're behind. That's one of the reasons. We're behind because of our mindset wasn't here to come. We thought it'd be just a flying visit. But the thing is, we built communities that need the support a lot quicker.
Most definitely.
So we've almost not so much lost a generation, but we struggled in a generation which we're reaping now. What that sowed. And I think we have to understand where we are. We've had organizations in here, Rico, you missed it earlier, where they're talking about feeding poor, the mental health of your young people, and let's look at volunteering over the years of you working with what's the main name? Because I remember, you've worked directly with the police and different things like that.
Voice against crime.
Voice against crime. When you was with that now, my challenging to people now, as much as you haven't got that set up now, but say if you had physical, it's okay just saying, Rico, I want to give you 5 hours of my time a week, but imagine people if we had lawyers, doctors, not so much lawyers, even doctors, professionals, professional doctors, prepared to be not just money, but their time. You know what I'm saying? To inspire youth, to give the organization the insights how to deal with these situations, to be what I see when I watch TV in America is pro bono. Is it pro bono they talk about?
Yes.
Yeah, and when they do something for the community.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't see that here as such. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but
it's not on a bigger scale. It's not on a wider scale than it is in America. I think what I found here in the UK is that one of the major problems we have here is working together. That is one of the biggest problems with most organizations.
Okay.
Because you will have say several different organizations working just for argument's sake, knife and gun crime, which is a massive problem. Still in its community.
Right. True.
So you've got a lot of organizations within that within our community that work within that sector. Cool. But how many of them actually work together to bring to bring that situation to a more conclusive conclusion is very, very few. It's all individuality. So when you're working on that kind of scale, you have to understand crime is organized. The gangs are united in what they believe. If you're going to try and combat an issue, but your organization that say that, quote, are dealing with that issue are not organized or they're not working collectively. It's like an oddball, isn't it? Because you're working against an organized set of youths that are determined to do what they're going to do. And then you're working against now a set of people that say they want to help that, but they're not actually willing to work with other organizations who have the same mindset to bring this thing to an end. You understand me? So what you find then is that there's loopholes then where things are being done, money's being spent, but the results are very, 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 very weak.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take more than one organization
to really
tackle these
issues.
You've got to have a group of people that come together with the mindset that this is what we're about. And then because of that now, you're going to have a bigger impact. And then the bigger impact will mean then you can get bigger help, because now the police, the government and such, they can see that, wow, there's some real change going on here. But if, I'm tired, to be honest with you, Roger. I've seen even now, 2024, people on the news still saying the same thing we were saying in 2016. You know what I'm saying to you?
Wow. That's the point, It's just a different face, but the same sentiments.
Same sentiments.
Same words and same sentiments.
Things. Because we're doing the same thing, Roger.
Yeah.
We're still going around the same circle. You get what I'm saying to you? You know what I mean? And that goes for many other different organizations that we could talk about. But if we're going to talk about knife and gun crime, the real problem isn't that we don't have the solution. The problem is that we don't work together with the solution. You understand me? So that is where it becomes more like, everybody wants then to make sure that their pot of money in their account. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to share that.
Wow, that's as crude as it is. Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. Crude. It is, and I think guys, if you are listening in and you're listening back at this and you're going, okay, cool. Yeah, we're hearing that, and I think there's a lot of organization people go, they would say that, they will say this and so. And I think the reality is that we do struggle to work together. We do,
most definitely.
You know what I'm saying, as community organizations.
Most definitely.
You know what I'm saying, and I feel that as well, that part of the community organizations is the church. You know what I'm saying, and it's okay. We're not going to do get ourselves in trouble with that one still. But I think that, and I will appeal to leaders and pastors, realize that the communities, the church organizations, the community organizations, the schools, the systems, because we have got teachers out there within the systems and whatsoever, and we got professionals that we need to be plugging into. Community organizations supporting us. There's property owners. There's property owners that have property sitting there doing nothing, and rather sit it there rather than saying, you know what, I'm going to put that to use within my community. I've got 10 property. One's going to be used as a home for the people without homeless shelter.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then my other homes, I'll be making more. I'm keeping saying 10%, but I just come from a tithing perspective. But take that aside, whatever number you can practically do. We gotta get to a stage now where we have to be creative with how we volunteer and how we invest within organizations. You know what I mean? And you see people out here doing it, and this is what I'm trying to profile people, faces, pioneers as well within the community areas and whatsoever. And we're not the only people. You know what I'm saying?
There's a rich wealth, Roger, especially here in Birmingham. I mean, we can talk. If you're talking about the UK, we are wealthy with great people that have great ideas, great ambition to bring about change. There's no two ways about that. There is hundreds and hundreds of people that have that ability. What we have as a problem is that we just don't seem to be able to connect, appreciate each other's different cultures, appreciate different ways of doing what we do. You understand me? And appreciate that my organization isn't the only organization, but I can appreciate your organization. You understand me? Because until I can get to that place, I can't really make a change, Roger. Because if God forbid, if I was able to just, wave a wand and change the world as one person or one organization, then it would be done, wouldn't it? But it doesn't. It's going to take more than one of us, Roger. It's going to take, because the problem we've got just with knife and gun crime is it covers the whole UK. There's no area in the UK that is not affected by the youth culture. I call it a culture. You get me? So if we're going to be still squabbling over who's the best and who's this and who's that, then while we're squabbling among ourselves, the youths them are continually going down a path of destruction where unless somebody really can see what's going on and pull back, you get me? But pull back means that we really take charge of the situation now. Stop the talking about it let's get on with it.
Yeah,
and one
yeah.
of the things that we did and we found very successful, I found that to be effective in my community, I had to become a part of the community.
Wow.
That's what I found, Roger. You get me? I couldn't operate from a distance.
Yeah.
I had to come within the scene.
Yeah.
So I was sitting around with some real mans. You get me? And hearing some real stories. You understand me? And feeling some real pain from their mums and their siblings who've lost, you know, a child's life, you know, their brother's life or whatever. You know, these are real things, but I had to get to that place to be able to help. And what I found was that when the youth saw that you weren't just about pushing a pen and giving them some nice words that come out of a textbook. They could relate with you now. And they could see that you were genuinely there for them. You understand me? And yeah, man, it was what it was.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah. Wow. That's some interesting, well, not interesting. That's some truth there still, people, where I think that it's a much more deeper and wider when we're asking for people to help out as well. You know, like I said, people can simplify, and we can be as simple as going, listen, I haven't got the time, but where do I sow into your ministry? It could be as simple as that, or it could be as complicated as, listen, I've retired, I'm early retirement, and I want to just sow a day or so within my community where I come back. It could be just, guys, there's so many ways, or it could be just a case of going, you know, I just hail you. You know, we say a lot of times, we say in our circles, pray, but prayer without action is what's killing. What's killing us. The great prayers we're putting out there. So what we are encouraging people to do is to find out your organizations in the area. Obviously, myself and Rico got Birmingham Tones, and we there in Birmingham. But as you heard from Haya earlier, she's doing a great work since 1999 in Nottingham. You know, working with you know what I'm saying, and then you got Pearl that's doing work from the Caribbean to the UK.
Okay.
And, you know what I'm saying, it was absolutely crazy working on performing arts and going right through to mentoring and knife crime and so on.
Brilliant.
So, but the thing is, we're here as well. What we encourage organizations to do is let's start communicating. Let's start working together. You know what I'm saying? Because our knowledge of the mentorship pool of certain pools of people can go much bigger. We can be inspiring each other to go better, bigger, and better. And that's what we're here to Affinity Xtra to do. So what's effectively? I see you wearing the Sound News Extra. So Rico says about working with the community still, as much as he might not be doing it directly, I would say, because I know in the background people still contact you, still communicate with you when things are happening and not unfortunately in the negative sense happening. But which ways have you been trying to do to be part of the community?
Okay, well, what I've started doing now, Roger, you know, as I said, as people of the church, as you know, we've been in the church, we know the church, we serve the church, you don't know, yeah? But what you have to understand, the church is also an organization.
Okay, yeah.
And as I was saying to Mac earlier, what we have to understand is that during the Windrush time, the two things or the two organizations that built what we call now the community, the West Indian community or the Caribbean community, was the church and what we call the dancehall or the sound system culture. Them are the two elements that came from Jamaica, came here to the UK, and they brought people together. That was the whole purpose of it. You get me? So you had sound systems in London, you had sound systems in Birmingham, you had sound systems all over the country. But what it did, it brought them after hard days or weeks work of being probably abused and, you know, let down by the system because they'd come here with great hopes and they found that there wasn't, as I said, they weren't very welcomed. And a lot of them did go back home. You have to understand that. But those that did stay, a lot of that support came from the church and from going out on a weekend and partying, meeting another fellow West Indian, having a little chit chat. And this is how the community was built. So to this day, those two organizations still exist within our community. The church is still very active and the dancehall or the sound system culture is still very active. So what I've done now, I've begun to now document the history of sound system culture because the culture itself is a rich culture. It broke down the racial barriers. I don't know if a lot of people know that because a lot of the white and black thing was a big issue, but the music brought them together. actually, because you know
they
started coming out, experiencing a little of this what was going on. Same with the church as well. A lot of them used to come to the black churches because they could hear the loud clapping and you know,
vibes.
We're not very quiet people, as you know.
So
they was attracted to that as well. So they'd come and, you know, they used to enjoy. In fact, you know that Elvis Presley actually got a lot of his inspiration from the black churches.
Oh, bro, listen, man. One of his BVs was Whitney Houston's mom.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying. So
we need to say no more then.
So, you know,
so what I'm trying to say is that we have a rich culture. So at the moment, I'm working within the sound system culture, documenting it with yours truly, and I'm loving it. But at the same time, it's also giving them a chance to see how we flex, how we do business, how we conduct ourselves. Because, just be honest with you, swearing, as I was saying to a brother earlier, swearing has become the new language. You know what I'm saying to you? It's not, I'm just being real. You know, whether you're educated or not, swearing is not a taboo. It's like, it's the norm. You understand me? So within that, when you're out there now and somebody's effing and blinding, and then you're not effing and blinding, you have to understand now that they're seeing something totally strange. Alien. Because everybody around them effs and blinds. You understand me? But then at the same time, when you're around them, you're seeing that as quite strange, because in the church, we don't eff and blind. You understand me? So what I'm trying to show the church is that the things and the qualities that the world needs in society are mercy, forgiveness, love, peace, and true joy. And all of those commodities, all of those attributes come from the church. But if the church is not out there to show the world what these things look like, what these things feel like, they continue then in the same pattern. That's all I can say. There you go.
No. And I think that this is what we're talking about, community actually going out there and, like you said, documenting, supporting them. You know what I'm saying? So you're almost supporting people. I've seen people talk about their story and they're on the last breath, you know, and a generation that is on the last breath, and appreciate that. And actually somebody documenting their story, you know what I'm saying? In terms of mental health, in terms of actually helping them to sow seeds to the next generation. So I think identity is a major thing. And I think some of the things that we look at practical help when we look at support, space and stuff, but we have to look at the blessings of people, not just feeding them, but feeding them mentally as well. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's 100% important. So guys, all I know is you see that logo out there, you can't miss it there, Sound News Xtra. Is you know, everything extra. You know what extra means? You know, it emphasizes the brownness. You know what I mean? This is how we do it, man. And I think that
I was going to say to you, Roger. You know, even in the short time of doing it, you know, the Bible says that, you know, the gifts that He gives you, you know, will make room for you.
Okay,
and
cool.
Like I said to you, you know, you have to understand. I'm from the church, so enough of my friend them out on the road, they knew me as a church person because when I was bringing San, Chevelle, Tucker, and all of them. I used to put them out on the road for them to go and minister to them anyway. So they knew that. So when they see me now on the road, it's like, wow, Rico backslide, go on, Rico back. You understand me? Because they can't work stuff. But the beauty is that I've seen the blessing. I was on like one of the biggest, if you're talking about sound system stage, they had a thing called the Bash, right? World Bash. All of the best sounds in the world from Jamaica, Africa was on this program. And Sound News Xtra was the only UK was invited on that stage. You get me? And I took that as a massive honor. But that's because the light you see that we're shining, because as I said to you, we're in the world, but we're not of the world. That's the difference. And what I will say to the church, and what I'll say to any person is this: if you're holier than Jesus Christ, then this conversation isn't for you then, because, you know, you're the big man. But if Jesus Christ came from heaven and dwelt on earth among whores, harlots, thieves, murderers, and his anointing wasn't dropping off because he was among these great sinners, we as a church need to understand that God has equipped the church for such a time as this. We can go out into the world. What we don't want to do is become like the world. That's the difference. You understand me? Because if a man's going to his 9 to 5 and telling me that he's working in a squeaky clean environment, nobody swears, nobody does anything evil, then he's a liar. But he still goes into that environment because he has to earn his 9 to 5 to earn his money, to go to work, to pay his bills. Well, it's no different than if I have to go into the community to shed a light in a dark place, because the Bible says that Christ, right, this is what it says. It says, they that sat in darkness. That means sat is a stationary position. Sat doesn't mean I was walking around, it's just stuck. In other words, the Bible is saying these people were stuck in their way of life. But it said, but they saw a great light. So how do they see this great light if they're not moving? It means that the light came to them. You understand me? And the church must understand, until we go to them, they will never know what light looks like.
And this is where you did see the heart, man, the heart, and it's a true heart of giving, man, 100%. So, you know, hopefully people there listening in, while sitting there, get your little convictions still in the soul, man. You know what I'm saying? And definitely there's plenty of organizations to be supporting out there. And you know what, guys? As well, you'll go into our links. We're going to be pointing to the major websites out there. There's going to be other organizations. If you're in the middle of Wales, I'm sure if you go into the tags and stuff, there's going to be organizations that you can help out there. You know what I mean? There's going to be tons of people to be doing. There's going to be so many people doing events all throughout this weekend and whatsoever. And we're really pushing this. But we're here on Affinity Xtra doing a live stream. A bit peculiar probably for what people are doing out there. But, you know, we just do what we do best. You know what I'm saying? You know, get me a mic, give me a sound, put me a live stream, and let's just go. Let's get promoting, man.
Visit us for updates and shows at affinityextra.co.uk.